Okay, so in this video, we are going to go through two of the jump statements, which is the break and as well as the continue, right? When you talk about the break statement, it stops the rule loop entirely. And when you talk about the continue statement, it stops the current iteration and continues with the next iteration. Now, what does it mean here, right? What does it actually mean when we apply these two loops, right? So as we know from the previous videos that there is two types of loops. One is the for loop, and another one is your while loop, right? So we know that there are these two types of loops in there. So these two jump statements, which is break and continue, they could work on any of these two loops, right? They could work on any of these two loops, and you could even utilize them both together in this in any of these two loops conditionally, right? So if you can put a conditional statement, you could utilize that these jump statements in there as well, right? So now when we talk about how to utilize these statements and how these actually work, so let's have a practical understanding how it works. Okay. So when we go through, let's open IDLE first. Let's open IDLE. Okay, let's open IDLE. Right. So this is the interactive mode of IDLE. Right. This is the interactive mode of IDLE. And to open the script mode, you will just click on the file in here and click on a new file in here. Right. Yeah. Now this is not required, but we will just keep this window in anyways, and then we will open a file in here, right? If you have already made the file, then we will open the file. If you haven't made the file, then obviously we will make the file, right? So I have some files in here, and so I have some projects in here as well. So I should have kept it somewhere in here. So let me see. Let me see. Uh, yeah, grade 11, class 12 practicals. Okay. So there are files in here. So we are going to understand the jump statements in here. So I will just name the file as jump statements. Oh, I had this. Okay. I was opening the file, yes. So I was like trying to figure out as in what to do with this one. So that's why I've had some scratch pad before and testing things out in there so that everything works properly. Right. So now when we talk about the break and when we talk about the continue, right? We talk about these two things. So suppose if you are trying to use break. So in case of while, or let's say in case of for. So for let's say you have a one counter which is I for I in range, and we will keep it from 1 to 6. Okay, one we will keep it from 1 to 6, and then from I in range 1 to 6, we are going to put one condition. So if I is equal to, let's say 4, or let's say 3. Okay, if I is equal to 3, then what will happen? We will just break, and if it is not, then we will just print the I, right? So all in all, this loop, okay, we'll do one more thing. Okay, we will just print one more line, empty line in this one as well. That will like kind of clarify for the next practicals, which we are going to show you, right? Me and this puppet character, which is copying my movements, not accurately, but yeah. So now we are going to run this. To run your program, you have to just do this. Is click on run and click on the run module F5. So this is F5 stands for function 5 key. So you could either press function 5 key from your keyboard, or you could just click on the run module and it will run the module, right? So it runs the module, it runs 1 and 2, and then there is a blank line in here, right? And then there is a blank line here. So, so as soon as it reaches 3, it breaks from the loop and it stops the loop altogether. So that is one of the functionality of the break statement. Okay. So this is the example of break statement. Let me write this up. Break statement example and for loop. Right. So this is one of the examples. Right. Now next is let's suppose we have what we have. we have the continue one, right? So we have continue one. So suppose if we have continue, okay, if we have continue, so we will write this as continue. Do remember that the line after the pound sign or the hash sign is your comment, and it will not be interpreted by the interpreter. So it will not be interpreted by the interpreter. So you have to keep in mind that this is just for the programmer's sake to understand like what this program is about. Okay, so continue statement example in for loop. Right. Now, what we will do is we will use for I. We will use the same construct of the for loop, which is from 1 to 6. Which is from 1 to 6. And then what we are going to do is like if let's say I equal to 1, then what we'll do is that we will not break but continue from there. And then if it is not there, then we will just print I, and then we will print one blank file in here. Right. Now we will run this. So keep in mind that the first output will be your break statement and for loop. So I will just clarify this in here. Break statement output and for loop. So above is the break statement output and for loop. And then next is this one is that we will write it as someone as what? Above is the continue statement output in for loop. Okay, so we have these two, and then we will going to run this. Okay, so let's run this module. So in running this module, we will see that the first one, which is the break statement, it breaks at 2. But the second one, what it does is it's obviously it starts from 1 in here. So it doesn't print 1 because at the starting point, if it checks that I is equal to 1, it will continue. So it doesn't print the statement which is print I. So it skips all the lines after the continue statement and then goes back to the next loop. And in here, it iterates with the next range value, which is 2, and it starts from here and then it goes till 5. And there will be a question in here as in like why isn't 6 is in here, you will ask, is because the upper bound of the range function is never printed in your for loop. So in this case, it's not more like printed, but the upper bound, when you make a range from 1 to 6, it will actually give you a sequence data type which is from 1 to 5. So upper bound is always and always not included in making the range, in getting the output of the range function, right? So that is there. And then what we also know is that the inner bound, which is this in this case it is 1, it will always have that inner bound element while you are constructing some sequence data type with the range function. Okay, so that we have to understand. And now, excuse me. So coughing a lot.